Hello, wonderful gardeners of the Humus heritage community. Welcome back to another journey into the heart of sustainable, life-giving gardening practices. Today, we're diving deep into something truly extraordinary, a liquid gold that professional growers have quietly relied on for decades, while the rest of us remained blissfully unaware. What if you could unlock explosive growth, vibrant blooms, and incredibly resilient plants with one simple, homemade concoction? Get ready to supercharge your garden naturally and witness a transformation you never thought possible. This isn't just a fertilizer, it's a game changer for your garden's health and vitality. Let me introduce you to the Seaweed Elixir, nature's most underrated secret weapon. When you walk along the shore and see those tangled masses of seaweed washing up on the beach, you're witnessing something far more valuable than ocean debris. You're looking at one of nature's most complete nutritional packages, a botanical powerhouse that's been nourishing coastal gardens for centuries. Professional growers and agricultural scientists have long understood what many home gardeners are only now discovering. Seaweed contains a spectacular array of nutrients that go far beyond the standard nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium we typically focus on. This marine vegetation absorbs and concentrates minerals from seawater throughout its entire life cycle, creating a nutrient profile that's staggeringly diverse and perfectly bioavailable for terrestrial plants. What makes seaweed truly exceptional isn't just what it contains, but how those elements work together synergistically. We're talking about over 60 trace minerals, including magnesium, iron, zinc, calcium, sulfur, and manganese, all present in forms that plants can readily absorb and utilize. Beyond minerals, seaweed is rich in natural plant growth hormones, particularly auxins, cytokinins, and gibberellins, which act as biological messengers that trigger profound changes in plant development. These hormones aren't synthetic chemicals forcing unnatural growth, they're the same signaling molecules that plants produce themselves, just delivered in concentrated form. Add to this mix a complex profile of amino acids, vitamins, and polysaccharides, and you begin to understand why Seaweed Elixir creates such dramatic transformations in garden performance. Your plants are constantly sending out chemical signals through their root systems, searching for nutrients and beneficial compounds in the soil. When you introduce Seaweed Elixir to your garden, you're answering those calls in spectacular fashion. The natural growth hormones in seaweed, particularly the auxins and cytokinins, trigger an explosive expansion of root tissue. This isn't just about longer roots, it's about creating a more densely branched fibrous root system with exponentially more surface area for nutrient and water uptake. I've personally witnessed plants treated with Seaweed Elixir develop root systems that are visibly more robust when transplanting, with fine feeder roots filling every available space in the soil. This enhanced root development creates a cascade of benefits that ripple through every aspect of plant health. With more extensive roots, plants become dramatically more efficient at mining nutrients from the soil, even from areas previously inaccessible to them. They develop greater drought tolerance because those deeper, more widespread roots can tap into moisture reserves further down in the soil profile. But perhaps most fascinating is how seaweed compounds strengthen plants against pests and diseases. The polysaccharides in seaweed trigger something called systemic acquired resistance, essentially training the plant's immune system to recognize and respond more effectively to threats. The result is plants with thicker cell walls, more vigorous growth, and an innate ability to shrug off attacks that would devastate untreated neighbors. Creating your own Seaweed Elixir is remarkably straightforward, though it does require patience and honestly, a tolerance for some truly memorable aromas. If you live near the coast, collecting fresh seaweed is your best option, but make absolutely certain you're allowed to harvest it legally in your area, as regulations vary significantly by location. Choose seaweed that's freshly washed ashore, rather than decomposing material that's been sitting in the sun. Common varieties like kelp, rockweed, and bladderwrack are all excellent choices. If you're landlocked, don't despair. Dried seaweed meal or kelp powder works beautifully and is available from garden centers and online suppliers. Once you have your seaweed, rinse it thoroughly with fresh water to remove excess salt, sand, and any hitchhiking marine creatures. Chop or tear the seaweed into smaller pieces, roughly hand-sized chunks work well, to increase the surface area exposed to water during fermentation. Fill a large bucket or barrel about halfway to 2/3 full with your prepared seaweed, then cover it completely with water. Here's where you can get creative. Adding a tablespoon or two of unsulfured molasses or raw honey provides food for beneficial bacteria, accelerating the fermentation process and creating an even more biologically active final product. Cover your container loosely. You need to allow gases to escape during fermentation, and place it somewhere sunny but far from your house, ideally near the back corner of your property. The fermentation process produces hydrogen sulfide and other sulfur compounds that smell, well, remarkably like rotten eggs mixed with dead fish. This is perfectly normal and indicates that beneficial decomposition is occurring. Stir the mixture every few days, and within 4 to 6 weeks, you'll have a dark, richly aromatic liquid that represents concentrated plant nutrition. For a quicker, less fermented version, you can steep seaweed for just 3 to 5 days, though the longer fermentation creates a more potent final product with higher levels of available nutrients and beneficial microorganisms. The concentrated elixir you've created is far too strong to use directly on plants. Dilution is absolutely essential. Think of your finished seaweed elixir as a nutritional concentrate that needs to be diluted to approximately the color of weak tea, typically 1 part elixir to 10 parts water, though some gardeners use ratios up to 1 to 20 for very sensitive plants. For foliar application, spray this diluted solution directly onto leaves in early morning or late evening when stomata are open and temperatures are cooler, preventing leaf burn and maximizing absorption. The nutrients are absorbed directly through the leaf surface, providing almost immediate benefits. For soil drenching, simply water the diluted elixir around the base of your plants, allowing it to soak into the root zone where those enhanced root systems can put it to immediate use. The timeline for observing results varies depending on your application method and the condition of your plants, but, prepare to be amazed. With foliar applications, many gardeners report noticeably darker, more vibrant foliage within just a week. Plants often exhibit a visible growth spurt, with increased stem thickness and more vigorous leaf production. Root-drenched plants may take slightly longer to show above-ground results, but when you eventually examine their root systems, the difference is stunning. By the 3rd or 4th application, spaced 2 to 3 weeks apart, you'll likely see plants that are measurably more robust, with better color, increased flowering, and remarkable resilience to environmental stresses. I've watched tomato plants recover from early blight pressure that would normally devastate them, and witnessed drought-stressed perennials bounce back with renewed vigor after just 2 applications of properly diluted seaweed elixir. Embracing seaweed elixir represents more than just a technique for growing better plants. It's part of a broader philosophy of working with nature rather than against it. By choosing renewable, ocean-sourced nutrients over synthetic fertilizers derived from fossil fuels and mined minerals, you're reducing your garden's environmental footprint while actually improving long-term soil health. Synthetic fertilizers provide plants with isolated nutrients but do nothing to build soil structure or support the complex web of microbial life that makes soil truly alive. Seaweed elixir, by contrast, feeds both plants and soil organisms, creating a positive feedback loop that improves your garden's fertility with each application. This is just the beginning of what's possible when you embrace organic, sustainable gardening amendments. Compost teas, fermented plant juices, and other natural biostimulants can work alongside your seaweed elixir to create a complete nutritional program that rivals anything available in a bottle. Each of these techniques represents ancient wisdom, rediscovered and validated by modern science, proving that the most effective solutions often come from observing and mimicking natural systems. Now it's your turn to experience the transformation that seaweed elixir can bring to your garden. Start your first batch this weekend, mark your calendar for that first application in a few weeks, and prepare to be amazed. Don't forget to subscribe to the Humus Heritage channel for more proven sustainable gardening techniques that actually work, and share this video with fellow gardeners who are ready to take their gardens to the next level. Drop a comment below telling us about your seaweed success stories or asking questions about your specific growing situation. Together we're building a community of gardeners who understand that the best solutions come from nature itself. Happy growing, friends.